Hey, what's going on, guys? This is GWReborn here. I figured to do a quick video. I get a lot of questions all the time in the guild and the alliance, as well as just a general on savaging, merching, and what to merch and what's worth of value. First off and foremost, I would like to say this is just out of experience and opinion more than anything. So what I'm going to be talking about for the next 2 to 3 minutes is more of just over the years of what I've usually occurred to learn from doing to apply to my gameplay today with my currency. So to start off with, merching versus keeping. So I would say to know if an item is actually merchable or keepable from just average day-to-day PvE gameplay, 90% of the time it's going to boil down to if it's either a require 9 inscribed weapon or if it has the mods or inscriptions on it that occur to be worth some form of value, which you can check the Kamadan decipher tool on the website to find out if those are worth the value of. For example, if it was like a 2020 wand or a plus 30 health staff warding or plus 30 health like this one has for the shield, etc. And another thing I would like to mention as well is anything that's old school, since this sword here has plus 5 energy, that's considered old school, non-inscribed. So whether it's Q9 inscribed or it has an old school mod of a staff or a wand or shield that was dual modded, the sword would be 15 above 50 or plus 5 energy, etc. So things that would make you know, all right, how do I know if it's worth keeping? Normally you need to look at 3 questions. Is it inscribable or not? Not inscribable. Okay. If it's not inscribable, is it got a perfect max mod? Meaning, is it 15 above 50? Is it plus 5 energy? Is it 15 minus 10? Is it a staff or wand with 20% matching attribute to the staff and wand, or is it an off-branded, like if let's say Q20, Q9 fire with 20% air? So if it didn't have a matching attribute, then you know it would be more like merch food based or savage based than actually worth value to sell. Another thing is with the shields, a lot of people have these price checks on shields where, all right, is it dual modded or is it single modded? Is it inscribed or not? If it is dual modded, like this one is I'm showing here, this one's dual modded, non-inscribed. So you see it's perfect mods, Q9, 60 hex, minus 2 stance. The only way you're going to know max mods is looking it up on wiki if you don't know them, or just generic. You'll learn it over time playing the game. Minus 2 stance is max, 60 HP while hex is max. I use this one for the deep. So that's a dual modded shield that is non-inscribed. That's worth keeping. It's not merging. Another thing that you want to know of when knowing if it needs to be merged or not is not just if it's inscribable, but the skin. So 90% of the PvE skins, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is merchable just because of the matter of that they aren't really commonly bought out there anymore unless it's like a dungeon end chest or Fissure Woe or Underworld into the Speakler dungeon chest, because those are more rare. Most of the common out of your lock chest to your Zacian chest, or majority of those are just core skins they are considered, so they're not going to be really as valuable without a collector buying them. So enough on the merching schematic. If you have any questions about merching, feel free to comment or ask in the questions below. So next thing I would like to say is, alright, let's go on to the savaging of it. So 90% of the time I normally savage just because I would rather have the crafting materials to craft for my pecons and consets than for me to merch them, because the gold is actually not as valuable to me. But that's a question I wanted to bring up in this video. Is it better to merch or is it better to savage? So one thing I can go about saying on this topic is some items are worth savaging if you're going to get, for example, plant fibers out of the item. You can wiki the item to see what materials can come out of it. But for example, the one I just savaged, plant fibers. Plant fibers are going to benefit more cost-wise than selling that for gold. So that's why I always savage anything that has plant fibers, because it gives me plant fibers instead of the gold, and I can use those plant fibers to make the scrolls for the pecons. Same thing goes for zodiac weapons or anything that savages into iron. I normally would savage those instead of the gold, but sometimes you might actually, if you look at the trader crafting price, here I'll show you real quick, sometimes the price to get the iron is actually cheaper than it is for the gold. So for example, this one says 296 gold. So let me savage this. 296 gold. Okay, that gave me less than that. So it's actually better to merch them. So it really just depends on the value of the gold. So in summary, if you want to just go by a general rule, anything more than 250 gold value would be better to merch 95% of the time. So if it's less than 250 gold, then go ahead and Savage it. If it's more than 250 gold, go ahead and, unless it has a highly Savage like this one, I'll show you a reason I say that. Okay, see that one right there just gave me 40. 40 was worth more than 290 gold. So there's a reason that I Savaged that one. Most of the time I Savage them just because I'm lazy and I would rather just get the platinum or the crafting materials than for me to get the gold. But if you go by the rule of thumb as I just mentioned with, is it worth just go ahead and Savaging them if they're less than 250 gold, then that's better off as making your decision than selling them, because then you're going to get your gold input return. But if you're breaking it down into gold pieces as one gold better than the crafting basis, then you're going to want to more dig deeper into what type of material that you're trying to hunt for versus the gold value. And it's going to vary from time of the year. So on to the next topic. A lot of people also mention, okay, well, what about not just weapons and gear, but also what about these runes? So you get a lot of these items that drop, such as this one I'm looking at, the garments, where they're armor pieces of the enemies that drop. And 90% of the time you're going to get runes on them, whether it's a purple or gold. Always Savage them off, because you never know. Just use a superior Savage kit, because you never know what you're going to get out of them. So see this one, it got destroyed, but you never know what the value of those. See, that one's worth only 10 gold. But there's a lot of them that you'll Savage. If you look in here and you investigate, you're going to notice that the values of them are pretty fairly high, so it's going to be worth Savaging them to get those items instead of just merching it. And I wouldn't merch them until after you get your runes off. So go ahead and merch all of your armor-based PvE drops into the runes, and after that, if you have the luck chance of Savaging it and keeping it, then merch the item after getting the runes off. Next thing is the generic PvE drops from the core drops that you get from enemies, such as these two examples. Sandblast Lodestones were just from Nick a couple weeks ago, and Vampiric Fang was a random drop from a farm. So those items you can usually always Savage, are going to be a benefit. See, I got 7 bones. That's going to be worth more than the actual item. These, I got 6 granite. Is going to be worth more than the item. So majority of those items, I'll use either a Savage kit or superior Savage kit on the generic items. If they're not going to be like a Nicholas item upcoming or an item that's going to a collector for a weapon, most likely you're going to benefit from Savaging them. But not every case, but most cases are just Savage them off, or you can merch them if you prefer the gold. So it's really down to the person than more than anything, just out of preference. So I had an inventory I wanted to demonstrate when Savaging, and I usually only use the superior Savage kit if I'm actually Savaging something off of it. Otherwise, I just use the Savage kit regular than the superior, just because it's cheaper. And it doesn't really change your return of actual value of crafting materials you get from it. So anyway, I go ahead and summarize this video. Whenever you have a drop that is old school, check the 3 things. Make sure that if it's Q9, then most likely you want to keep it if it's old school. Check your mods. Is it dual modded shield? Is it a perfect mod inherit match staff or wand? And as well as, is it 15 above 50 or plus 5 energy? Then you want to keep those Q9s. If they're Q13 and their mods aren't matching or perfect, then most likely those are merch or Savage based. Summarize also, when it comes to the Savaging or merch decision, look at if the value of that item you're Savaging is less than 250 gold, go ahead and Savage it. If it's more than 250 gold, go ahead and merch that item. Most likely you're going to benefit from merching it if it's less than that. If it's higher than 250, sorry. Like this item right here, I'm going to merch because it says 308 gold. This one says 384 gold. So I'm going to benefit more from actually selling that item to the merchant than I am actually Savaging it. And that's the summary for the video. I'm not even going to edit this. This is just social talk for some people that were wanting some feedback on this. Instead of just me asking questions, I can voice my opinion out loud on a video and share for you guys. If y'all have any questions, thoughts, complaints, or even ideas to generate that you would like to share your experience to the Guild Wars community, feel free to share. This video is in no way or harm saying this is the best way to do it and basically Reborn knows everything. This is more of just a generic noob-friendly video for people to understand, alright, is it better to merch or Savage, and what should I merch and Savage, and what should I keep and not merch and Savage. So I hope that gave y'all a general idea. If y'all have any questions, feel free to comment, check the video description. I will be putting a more detailed thought on what I discussed in the video. Later, guys. Thanks for watching always. Subscribe if you haven't.